You do this every single time you fly, and you've probably never once stopped to question it. You're standing in the security line. You take the water bottle you just paid $4 for, and you pour it straight into a trash can, because the sign says so. No liquids over 100 milliliters. Those are the rules, and you've made your peace with them. Then you walk 20 feet past the checkpoint, into the terminal, and there's a shop. And that shop will happily sell you a full-liter bottle of vodka, or a giant bottle of perfume, or a 200 milliliter tube of expensive face cream. And nobody bats an eye. You carry that liter of liquid right onto the plane, past the same agents who, 90 seconds ago, wouldn't let you keep a single sip of water. So which is it? Is liquid dangerous on a plane, or isn't it? For years, people have looked at this and landed on the obvious answer. It's fake. It's theater. A pointless little ritual we all perform to feel safe while accomplishing nothing. There's even a name for it. Security theater. And honestly, that explanation feels good. It's satisfying. It confirms everything we already suspect about airports. But it's wrong. The truth is that this rule, the one that makes you throw away your water, is one of the most precisely engineered pieces of counterterrorism logic on the planet. Every number in it was chosen for a reason. The 100 milliliters, the single quart-sized bag, the exception for the duty-free vodka. None of it is random. All of it traces back to one night in August of 2006, and to a chemical so unstable that the people trying to make it kept blowing themselves up. Let me show you what's actually going on here. To understand the rule, you have to go back to the plot that created it. It's August 2006. British counter-terrorism police have been quietly watching a group of men in London for months. And what they uncover isn't a plan to smuggle a gun or a knife onto a plane. It's something the aviation world had never seriously prepared for. The plan, directed by Al-Qaeda, was to put multiple attackers, disguised as ordinary tourists, onto at least 7 transatlantic flights. Planes leaving London headed for cities across the United States and Canada. And then, somewhere over the ocean, to blow them all up, at the same time. But here's the part that changed airport security forever. They weren't going to smuggle a finished bomb through the checkpoint. That's hard. Bombs have wires. They have metal. They have shape scanners are trained to catch. Instead, they were going to bring the ingredients, separately, as harmless-looking liquids, and build the bomb in the air. The disguise was almost insultingly simple. They took ordinary soft drink bottles, a green tea brand called Oasis, plus drink mix powders like Tang, the kind of thing anyone might toss in a bag. They drained them, injected high-concentration hydrogen peroxide inside with a syringe, and resealed them so they looked untouched. To a security agent and to a scanner, it was just a guy with a bottle of juice. The detonator? Even more ordinary. A common AA battery, the kind sitting in your TV remote right now, wired up as the electrical trigger. The idea was to lock themselves in the airplane lavatory, mix the components, and put the explosive together at 30,000 feet. Think about how quiet this is. No metal, no wires at the checkpoint, no suspicious shape, just some tired-looking passengers carrying drinks. On the 9th and 10th of August, British police moved in and made their arrests. And within hours, the alert went out to the entire world. The response was instant and total. That same day, airports in the US and the UK banned liquids completely. Not restricted, banned. No water, no gel, no toothpaste. The only exceptions were baby formula and essential medication. Everything else went in the trash. That's the panic version of the rule, the scorched earth version. But you can't run an airline like that forever. People need their contact lens solution. They need their medicine. So over the next several weeks, chemists and security experts sat down and asked a completely different question. Not how do we ban liquids, but how much liquid does someone actually need to build a bomb, and how do we make sure they can never carry that much through the door? The answer to that question is the rule you live with today. And to understand why the numbers are what they are, you need to meet the chemical at the center of all of it. Its street name tells you everything. They call it the mother of Satan. The real name is TATP. It's an organic peroxide, and it's one of the most terrifying things a bomb maker can work with, because it doesn't want to wait. The tiniest bit of friction, a little static, a small bump, a slight change in temperature, and it goes off. Instantly. The people trying to produce this stuff in labs kept setting it off by accident. Stir a little too hard, and you're gone. So it's dangerous to make. Fine, plenty of explosives are dangerous. Why did this one specifically terrify the entire aviation industry? Because of a blind spot, a gap in the technology that scanners had never had to worry about. For decades, the machines and the trace detectors at airport security were built around one assumption. Explosives contain nitrogen. TNT, C4, black powder, the classic stuff, they're all nitrogen-rich compounds. So the detectors were tuned to hunt for nitrogen. Find the nitrogen, find the bomb. TATP contains no nitrogen at all. It's built from just carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Under a standard scan, its density and its chemical signature look almost exactly like a bottle of water. Or like nail polish remover, which is basically acetone, a close cousin. The detectors were staring right at a threat and seeing a soft drink. That's the real reason for the panic in 2006. It wasn't just that terrorists had a clever plan, it's that the entire multi-billion-dollar screening system had a hole in it the shape of a water bottle, and the enemy had found it. So now you understand the problem. Here's how those numbers you ignore every day actually solve it. Start with the 100 milliliters. That number is not a guess. Chemists ran the tests. And what the explosive experts found is this. A single liquid source, smaller than 100 milliliters, even in a best-case scenario for the attacker, simply doesn't hold enough energy to punch through the aluminum skin of a modern airliner or breach a pressure bulkhead. It's below the critical mass. It might make a nasty bang. It won't bring down the plane. So the rule doesn't ban liquids. It just keeps every single container below the amount that could actually matter. But you're already asking the obvious question. What if I bring 10 separate bottles, each 99 milliliters, and combine them once I'm on board? That is exactly what the second number is for. The 1 quart bag. Every one of those tiny containers has to fit inside a single, transparent, quart-sized bag. One bag. Per person. And that hard ceiling on total volume is the quiet genius of the whole system. Because improvised chemistry in a lavatory has an awful conversion rate. You put in a lot of liquid, you get back only a little unstable material, and it fights you the entire time. Working in secret, on a moving plane, with only what fits in that one small bag, it becomes almost impossible to gather enough to reach the mass you'd need to destroy the aircraft. The 100 milliliters caps the individual source. The quart bag caps the total. Together, they don't stop you from carrying liquid. They quietly starve the recipe of everything it needs. And now, finally, we can circle back to that bottle of duty-free vodka, the one that looks like the rule falling apart. It isn't a loophole. It's the same logic, applied to a completely different situation. Here's the part everyone misses. The 100 milliliter rule exists because security cannot verify what's inside your bottle. Your water might be water. It might not be. They can't be sure, so they cap the volume and move on. But the duty-free shop is on the other side of the checkpoint. It's in the sterile zone, what the industry calls airside. And everything sold in that shop got there through a supply chain that's screened far more aggressively than you ever are. The goods are inspected, the suppliers are background checked, the whole chain is watched end to end before a single bottle hits the shelf. Security already knows what's in that vodka because they controlled it from the factory to the counter. The receipt and the sealed bag are how they protect that guarantee after you buy it. When you purchase liquid duty-free, it goes into something called a STEB, a security tamper-evident bag. It's sealed with a special high-strength strip, and if anyone tries to open it, or heat it, or peel it, the seal permanently reveals the word void, or opened. Your receipt, dated for that day, is sealed inside where anyone can read it through the plastic. So the message that bag sends to security at your connecting airport is simple. This liquid has never touched the outside world. It was safe when it was sold, it hasn't been opened since, and the seal proves it. Nobody had a chance to swap it or inject anything into it. That's not the rule breaking down. That's the rule working exactly as designed. You're not allowed to bring unverified liquid through the door. You are allowed to carry verified liquid that never left the safe zone. The vodka isn't an exception to the logic. It's a demonstration of it. Which brings us all the way back to that trash can and the water bottle you poured out. It really does feel like theater. It feels arbitrary and dumb and inconsistent, and I completely understand why so many people are convinced the whole thing is pointless. But now you know what's actually happening. That number, 100 milliliters, is a wall built right at the edge of what improvised chemistry can pull off in the back of a plane. That clear little bag is a hard cap on the total you can gather. And the sealed bottle of duty-free is not a crack in the system. It's proof that the system knows the difference between a liquid it can vouch for and one it can't. It's not that liquid is dangerous or that liquid is safe. It's that security can't tell your water apart from the mother of Satan just by looking. So instead of banning everything, and instead of trusting everyone, they found the exact line where the chemistry stops working, and they drew the rule right on top of it. So next time you're standing there, pouring out a perfectly innocent bottle of water while someone strolls past with a liter of gin, you don't have to feel like a fool performing a pointless ritual. You're just standing on the other side of a very specific line, one drawn in chemistry rather than common sense. And the whole strange, contradictory system around you was built by people who knew exactly where that line was. They just never bothered to explain it to you.